How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to a brand new video, and today you are watching my first ever league race highlights on this channel. I'm very excited to make this video, and today this is round 6 of the GMT Racing League. That's my racing league. That's what it's called, GMT. And like I literally just said, this is round 6. We're at Germany. And unfortunately, this was actually my last race of the season for this league. The admins moved the starting time of qualifying back by an hour, so it usually started at 11 a.m. Now it starts at noon, and it's every Tuesday, and I had already had a previous commitment at 1 p.m. every Tuesday, and when it started at 11, it gave me just a few minutes before, because my previous commitment was at 1 p.m. and it gave me just a few minutes, but it was enough time to prepare for that. And moving that back, I would be able to take place. I'd be able to do qualifying, and about the first 10 laps of the race, and that'd be it. So kind of pointless for me to even show up if I can't even finish the race, because that's what's important about a race weekend. So unfortunately, this is my last league race that I participated in for the season. I am going to be talking to the higher ups in the league and the people who decide the schedule and all of that to get that. Even if we could totally do it at the same time, just not on Tuesdays or Thursdays. Those are my busy days, and I don't think I made that clear enough, and that's on me. That's definitely on me. And yeah, like I said, I'm gonna discuss it with them, and I think we're gonna try to figure out a schedule that works for everyone every week, because it's, you gotta get a 2-hour window just one day a week, and in and of itself, that doesn't sound that complicated, but for everyone to agree on it, it's a lot more difficult than you'd think it is. And yeah, I've rambled on like way too long about that. So anyways, you can see we're here in Q2. I wanted to do the mediums to hard strategies again, and that's what we're doing. We're going out in Q2 on a set of mediums, and I think I'm going to stay on board for the entirety of this lap. That's number one. Somebody count. Anyways, starting this lap, got a pretty good line through turn 1. The thing about this track is trail braking. You have to do a lot of trail braking, especially into that corner right there, turn 2. And you'll see at the end of the straight, at the hairpin turn 5 or 6, I don't know. You have to do a lot of trail braking at this circuit. It's very important to get lap time, as you can see from my brake telemetry. You miss the apex just slightly, but it really doesn't hinder you too much. It doesn't hinder your lap time too much if you miss the hairpin. That's really the one corner you can get away with it if you don't hit it every time. This section right here, that was a really tricky left-hander. That heavy braking zone after the hairpin, and that right-hander, it was just so difficult for me personally to get it hooked up, and it never really caught me out. It's just I felt really slow through there, and I knew there was a lot of other people who could just nail that a lot easier than I could, and even when I did nail it, it just wasn't really working for me too much. But as you can see, we set a 12-1, which throughout every other unranked lobby that I practiced in, I could only do like a 12-5, or I think the best I did was a 12-4 during practice, so I improved by 3/10, and I knew that was a really good lap. It felt really neat and tidy. I didn't overdrive the car. I didn't push super hard. I knew I didn't need to because I had the pace, and I'd practiced every single day, actually, in between last week's race and for this race. So I knew naturally I had a lot of pace, and I don't know if you caught that, but this lap right here, the first lap in Q3, my banker lap, was actually set on a scrub set of soft tires. It was the set of tires that I used in Q1, and it was an okay lap. I literally just had to make it around the track to set some sort of time, and I think that was an 11.5 if I can see that. Yeah, it's 11.5, and you can see it's actually really close between myself and up to about third. It was separated by less than a tenth, which was crazy. It's never been that close in any other of our qualifying sessions for this league. And going out in Q3, this is my final run. This is my fastest lap in Q3. Obviously on a brand new set of tires. We set that 11.5 on the scrub set of tires we used in Q1. And I think I could stay on board for the rest of this lap too. But like I said during my Q2 lap, this track is all about trail braking, especially into turn 2 like you just saw, and being really smooth. And exiting the first sector, we're a tenth and a half up on the current pole time set by AJ Lewis. I think it was 11.1. I don't actually remember what he said. Might have been a really high 11.0. But you saw there going through the hairpin. I missed the apex slightly, but still gaining time, obviously, because we're on a brand new set of tires. But it's just not, doesn't really take away too much from your lap time if you miss it, as long as you just get right back in the groove of it, which I could do really easily. Coming into the stadium section, Rapid Gamer goes on a provisional pole with an 11.0. And we have a little bit of an oversteering moment right there, but not too bad. And into the penultimate and final corner, I just made sure I didn't downshift too aggressively to over-rotate the rear of the car, which would have completely ruined my lap. Just keeping it neat and tidy, opening up the DRS, putting the ERS into overtake. God, I can't talk. We set a 10.9. And I can confirm that was good enough for pole position, ladies and gentlemen, by 1 3/4 of a tenth exactly, actually. And I had gone faster than that in previous practice sessions, but I didn't need to, obviously, because we got pole. I was really happy with that lap, actually. And so here we are on the grid for round 6 of the GMT Racing League. And as you can see, the strategy is a one-stop from mediums to hards, but if you look at the weather, looks like about halfway through the race there's going to be some rain, and it's light rain for a little bit, and then it gets to heavy, full wet conditions. So that's going to be pretty interesting later on in the race. And if you look in the bottom left corner of my screen, it shows the little blue square down there with the 72M and the 6. I stream all of my league races live on Twitch used to every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Time US. So that's all it is. It just tells me how long I've been streaming and how many people I have watching at the moment. So if you follow my Instagram page, you would know that league racing is halted for the moment. But enough of that. We're on the grid, and we're going to 3, 4, 5 red lights. We jumped the start. Yeah, that was not the best way to kick this race off, especially because I spent the 7 days before this race preparing, and the start and basically the whole race is just like that. But there's always a chance of a safety car, or even a virtual safety car, and at this point, I was just telling myself to keep my head down and just hope for a safety car, a virtual safety car. But I don't know if you caught that, but I even at the hairpin, I locked up a little bit, but didn't really lose too much of my lead. I actually pulled about a 2-second gap in the first 2 sectors, which was pretty helpful, actually. It kept Rapid Gamer and AJ Lewis at bay, and as you can see there, the game just reminding me that I have to serve my penalty. And I wanted to do it at the end of this lap, but I decided to come in at the end of the next lap, which you'll see in just a second here. But what I didn't realize was Rapid Gamer and the McLaren behind us and AJ Lewis and the Renault both also had drive-through penalties, because apparently off the start, when I jumped the gun. They actually reacted to me, and not the 5 red lights. So I didn't actually see that off the start. I didn't even realize that until now because he came in behind me and there weren't any pit crews out. So obviously that meant he had a penalty. And well, that's a Racing Point getting all out of shape there. Good for him. Anyways, like I just said, I just now realized that they had drive-through penalties, and we were lucky enough to actually come out of the pits ahead of both of them. As you can see, the Rapid Gamer is right behind us. AJ Lewis is a little bit further back, just he's right behind Rapid Gamer, but I was very lucky to actually come out in front of both of them. But we do have a virtual safety car, the beginning of lap 4. At the time I didn't know what this was, but looking back on it right now, there was a Racing Point that retired on the main straight, and that's what I can only assume to be the reason for that VSC. But I used that to save a little bit of extra fuel. I didn't need to save any ERS because that battery was fully charged. But end of lap 4, VSC has ended, and we're back up to racing speed. And the Red Bull right in front of us, Samberbam, we actually set a faster time than him in Q2 on the medium tires. When he was on and that's Nick in the Haas. He is gone. I think he collided with Harry Woolens in the mediums.
Bruh.
In the Williams. That is definitely 100% staying in the video. Coming to the end of lap 5, Egg sets the fastest lap with a 15.5. We respond with a 15.4. That gave me a boost of confidence, knowing that we were faster than probably one of the fastest dudes in the league, and Rapid Gamer wasn't actually able to match that lap time. But what I really needed at this point was a safety car. And would you look at that? Our prayers have been answered. It seems that the F1 gods have listened and blessed us with our request. Anyways, I don't know if you saw that. Coming out of turn 1, we ran a little bit wide on the exit and then ended up getting a track extension warning for that. And I don't know why. That's just another of the millions and billions of examples of why this game is just big crap butt sometimes. I don't know where that came from. That literally just out of the blue. I'm actually so excited for the next game. I hope there's just not stupid stuff like that. Anyways, you can see we're at the end of lap 8. Safety car is coming in, and I was actually looking at the Renault in first place. I wasn't even paying attention to Logshotter one bit, and I probably should have paid more attention to him because he's got a pretty good jump on us coming out of the safety car period. And if you can see, if you look in the top left, he's actually on the hard tires, so he's going to be at a bit of a pace deficit to us at this stage. And there's the Renault up there who was in first, ran really wide, and going into turn 2 we had to go a little bit defensive from Rapid Gamers. He had a little look down the inside. He wasn't doing anything crazy. He was just letting us know that he was there. But you can see that there's little spits of rain here and there coming into the hairpin. We actually get it slowed down quite nicely and hit the apex, but we just got hit in the back by Rapid Gamer. He clearly did not get it slowed down for the hairpin, and he lost I think 5 positions or something like that. Luckily, we just got a little tap from behind. He actually helped us rotate around the corner a little bit, so thank you for that. But coming on to lap 11, AJ had a little bit of a look. We weren't really coming under attack from him. It's really difficult. It's just a really bad idea to try to overtake into turn 1 at this track. I think Logshotter went a little bit wide into turn 2. We don't get the best exit out of turn, I think that was turn 3, and DRS hasn't been disabled yet, and AJ just gets the best run on us coming into the hairpin, and we just go in really deep to defend from him. But Nick and the Haas actually gets the switchback on both of us, and we end up losing the position, and Nick gets 2 positions in 1. So hats off to him. That was actually a really good move. That surprised me that he got myself and the Renault. Getting a little bit out of shape there, heading out of the second sector. But you can see the rain is getting a little bit worse, and going back to the main straight on lap 12, we're under attack from AJ Lewis again. I think DRS at this point had been disabled. I'm not totally sure on that, but we go deep again to go a little bit defensive, and then we lose again, and we lose a little bit of our front wing on AJ Lewis. Luckily, we got the strategy change from Jeff to come into the pits to put the intermediates on, and Harry Woodlands just completely flies across our screen. And after the race, I looked at the footage, and I obviously you saw I didn't try to swerve over and hit him, but on his end, he's in the UK, he's on the other side of the world, so connection's a little bit dodgy from time to time. And from his perspective, it actually did look like that. When I tried to go defensive, I just swiped over and hit him off the track. And we talked afterwards, and I apologize, of course, because connection's just stupid sometimes. And he said it was all good. He understood. He knew it was just connection. So we're all good there. But lap 13, you can see Payox in the Mercedes. He went wide at the hairpin, and we tried to do the switchback on him, but we couldn't quite get it. And coming out of the final corner on the same lap, he gets a terrible run, and we pull up alongside him, but we decide not to attack him into turn 1, as we actually put him in a mistake, and I think he actually got a penalty from that. He might have just got a warning. I'm not totally sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got a penalty. Had we actually tried to go for that, I don't even think neither of us would have made it out of there alive, but we're trying to pull alongside him out of turn 3, and we're putting the ERS up in overtake, rich fuel mixture, full attack mode, and coming into the hairpin, we brake pretty late, but not too late that we don't miss the apex, and we get the move down on him, which is really nice to see. And we skip forward to lap 22, because I kid you not, from that moment up until now, there was 0 action in front or behind me. The gap between myself and Nick, who was in front of me about 3 seconds, it never fluctuated higher than 3.3 seconds or lower than 3 seconds. And AJ Lewis behind me, he was actually less than a second at one point, but we just had a little bit better pace than him, and we were slowly pulling away from him, and I didn't make any mistakes. There was literally nothing going on around me. It was just me trying to set as consistent lap times as I possibly could. And it was literally at this point, lap 22, with like 7 or 8 laps later, that we finally get a piece of action. And it's Nick. He finally got past Logshotter. I don't think Logshotter had bad tire wear or anything like that, but you can see he just pulled off into the pits, and that has promoted us up into P5 as we get another virtual safety car. I don't know what that was for during the race, or even now I don't know what that was for, but it was a very short virtual safety car. As you can see, we're down the end of the straight into the hairpin, and we're back to racing speed. So again, I'm not really sure what that was for, but that was a good opportunity for me to let the tires cool down and let the battery charge a little bit more, get a little bit more fuel. And you can see lap 26, we're getting the strategy call from Jeff to go onto the wet tires. Now, what my thinking was we could go onto the wet tires and definitely be one of the fastest people, if not the fastest person on the track. But the thing is, it was just okay enough to put on wet tires. It was still, as you can see there, we're losing the back end, but it was still fine to run on the inters. And I don't know if you saw that, but now we have the Renault of Payox Kings right behind us, because he made the strategy call to come in for wets, and he was about 0.7 of a second behind us in the first corner on the last lap, and I think he actually made a mistake. That's why he's so far back this time. But we actually started to pull away from him, and you can see the Mercedes of Egg who is trying to defend from Nick, and he was on the wets too because him and Kings and the Renault were miles ahead of all of us. They were basically exactly a pit stop ahead of Nick and myself, who were in, I believe, third and fourth at the time that they came in. Actually, I'm sorry, fourth and fifth, because Rapid Gamer is still up there, as you can see on the mini map. But I think between Rapid Gamer, Nick, and myself, we all knew that they were going to come in for the pit stop because they were miles ahead of us and they were still going to emerge with some good track position. But we also knew that the pace advantage was going to be absolutely minimal. It wasn't even going to be worth it to come into the pits. So we all decided to stay out on the intermediates, and you'll see that proved crucial for the race results. And coming to the penultimate and last corner, Egg loses his Mercedes, and we give him room on the inside of the last corner, but he just lost it, and he couldn't hold on to it, and he ran into the back of us. And you can clearly see that. You can even rewind and watch that if you want to. I didn't swerve over to him. I left him plenty of room. It was just, he was gone at that point, and it wasn't anyone's fault. It was just bad conditions, and that's okay. But we've got his teammate in the Mercedes who's ghosted, but he's going to let us through. Yay, good. He let us through. Lap 34, coming onto the main straight, and at this point, nothing really happened. We just had to bring it home. You can see we're the end of lap 33 onto lap 34. This is the last lap of the race, and that was my second warning. On the very last lap, we got a warning. But coming to the last two corners, Rapid Gamer is going to knock out the victory. Nick, on his return after 3 races at his home Grand Prix, gets second place. So a very strong showing from Nick. Hats off to him. That was a really good drive, and we come home in P3 to round out the podium. And I obviously didn't know at this point that this was going to be my last race of the season. And Rapid Gamer was one of my championship rivals, and he did pull away from us for 10 points, but my teammate actually got disqualified. So in this race, I gained 15 points on him, which was absolutely incredible. That he is miles in front of everyone at the moment. And, wow, that was absolutely horrendous. I literally ran out of breath and had to burp and voice cracked at the same time. That's totally staying in, by the way. Like, yeah. Anyways, like I was saying, we made up a lot of points on my teammate, and just look at the amount of incidents in this race. It was unbelievable. Literally, there were jump starts, there were penalties, there was blockage. It was ridiculous. But guys, that has been round 6 of the GMT League Racing Series, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace. Capitano, you're a bad Capitano. Capitano, you're a bad Capitano.